Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be chatting through all of the books I picked up in the month of October, and I picked up a lot of books, guys. I don't know, well, I do really know what happened, but I don't really know what happened, okay? Things happened in October. So here I was thinking, I want to read my shelf, I want to read my physical TBR. And then October happened and no, things went a bit wrong. So things started going wrong at the very beginning of the month, and then they just continued as the month went on. I guess we'll start from the beginning. At the very beginning of the month, I went shopping with my friend Sophia from Sophia's Thoughts. I will link her channel down below. And she took me to this place called 66 Books, which is just outside of London. And basically it's this big book warehouse, and they open, I don't know that, I think they're generally open to like businesses, but once a month roughly they are open to the general public at the weekends. And literally it's normal books, like normal books that you find there, and they take 70% off the price. Like at the end they just like put in the normal selling price, and then they get a calculator and take 70% off, and that's what they do. That's their marketing thing. It's just 70% off the selling price. So books are so cheap, so cheap. So I bought 5 books when I was there, and it's like this whole warehouse where you're like going around and there's like aisles and aisles and aisles of books, and it's not really organized. It's not like you can, I mean there's sort of sections, like there was like every now and again you'd be like, oh there's some YA there, or oh there's some like sci-fi masterwork. Okay, there's a section, but then you'd find it like further along as well. Like it wasn't like you'd find this like sci-fi masterwork and then suddenly you'd be surrounded by cookbooks and you're like, oh, okay, all right. So it was a bit of like a challenge to like, well, it's part of the fun, like going around and like scavenging and like looking around. And like you'd have big sections, like if you had one book there'd be like a stack of them, like you'd have a big stack of that one book, but it was just, I don't know, you're like, oh there's so many books here, there's so many. So I got 5 books for like £16, which is a great deal, because normally like I think like normal price £16 would have got me like 2 of the books maybe. Well, we'll start with the Neil Gaiman. So I picked up 2 Neil Gaiman books whilst I was there. These are all new books, by the way, like none of them are used, they're all brand new. So I picked up Neverwhere and American Gods in these editions. I think they've got these like new editions, which I don't really like them that much. So these are the older ones, which I guess they're like getting rid of now. So I picked up these 2, which I haven't read. I've read Coraline, Stardust and The Ocean at the End of the Lane, but these are 2 that I haven't read. I mean there's loads of other ones that he has that I haven't read, but like here are 2. So American Gods I'm going to be reading in November with Shelf Space. It is the Buddy Read pick there, and I am the host. This one being about a guy that comes out of prison and then meets a god, and I guess it continues from there. I don't really know where it goes from there. And then Neverwhere I think is about alternative Londons. These 2, I think they're some of his like most famous books. I feel like these are the ones that everyone talks about, and these 2 that I haven't read, and they're the ones that I've been planning to read for years, literally years. So they were like these were an easy decision. I also picked up The Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. I read Kindred earlier this year and loved it. I really thoroughly enjoyed that book. Loved it. It feels like a bit hard to say I loved it considering the plot and themes that it explores, being focused on the slave trade, but the messages of it have really stuck with me, and so I was really interested to see what her other books are like. So when I saw this there I had to pick it up. This is a sci-fi duology. I also own Wild Seed by her, so I have 2 options of where to go next with her. That either I think I will start with Parable of the Sower, but I do have Wild Seed as well. But yeah, definitely interested in reading a lot more Octavia E. Butler in 2022. Speaking of sci-fi and sci-fi duologies, I also picked up Seven Devils by Elizabeth May and Laura Lamb, and there's no descriptions here. It's a sci-fi. Yeah, all I know is that it's a sci-fi duology. I have read some of Elizabeth May's other books. She did a like Scottish trilogy with fairies, which I read quite a few years ago, and I really enjoyed it. And so I thought I would definitely give her like a second try, because I really like her other series. I thought, why not try her sci-fi book? And then I also picked up The Ghost Bride by Yang Zi Chu. And this is a Malaysian like historical, I don't know if it's fantasy as well. I feel like it could be predominantly historical but with some fantasy elements or magical realism elements, like set in Malaysia, and this girl's being proposed or in marriage to this person that is dead. Like, she's getting paid a lot of money to it, but she ends up being the ghost bride because the guy she's marrying is dead. Well, it does say night after night she finds herself drawn into another world, one where boundaries between reality and dreams are blurred. So I'm assuming there is some sort of fantasy-esque aspect to this. But I've heard really good reviews from this. I think Angela at Literature Science liked this. Those were the 5 books that I picked up when we went to the book warehouse, the dangerous book warehouse, which has so many books in it. It was definitely an experience, and I definitely want to potentially go again in the next like year or so. I think it's one of those places where like they will have the same stock for a little while, and then it's not worth going like every month or whatever it is, but it might be worth to go like in 8 months time or something and see how things have changed, because I know Sophia said she'd been about 6 months ago and there were quite a few similar titles there. So definitely interested to go again, and it was a great day out, and she was a bit more reserved than me. I bought more than she did. So then following on from that, I did some more bargain book shopping. Okay, I don't know what it was, but like the world was just tempting me with book deals this month. Like the world was tempting me. Like there were just book deals everywhere. Okay, it wasn't me, it was the world. The world made me buy these books. It's not my fault. It's not my fault I bought the books. It would have been a crime not to buy them. So next I bought Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This was an arc that I read last month, September, yeah. So in September I read Once Upon a Broken Heart. I did read it as an arc. It was part of my reading and travel vlog that I did when I went to Greece, and this one I read on the plane back. I read the whole thing in a day, which is not something I've ever really done. And when I saw the length of this, of like over 400 pages, I was like, how did I read that in a day? Like, how did I do that? And I think if I had read it as like a physical book, I might not have been able to do that, but because I had the Kindle version, I just kept going. And so the story behind this is that I haven't been able to find this in a bookshop in London. It came out at the end of September. I have not seen it. I have not seen it in any bookshops. I don't know if they've had issues with the publication of it, but I have not seen it anywhere. And then I went into my office. So I still work from home the majority of the time, but I've been trying to go into the office like 1 day a week. And I thought I would have a look at the used bookshops around, and the charity shops around the office, and thought, well, whilst I'm here, why don't I go spend my lunch break and have a look in the used bookshop? And there it was, and I was like, this book it had been out like 2 weeks. It'd been out 2 weeks. I hadn't even seen it in a real bookshop full price, and there it was for £2. £2. I was like, what is this doing here? This book is a brand new release, like brand new. Like it looks like it hasn't been read. I was like, what is this doing here? Like, what is this doing here? So well, yeah, I mean, I had to pick it up. It would have been a crime not to buy it, and I really did enjoy the arc when I read it, and I had been looking to like buy it as a finished copy anyway. So when it was £2, I was like, done deal. And oh my god, look at this. Like, it is absolutely stunning. I mean, like, having that under the dust jacket, when I took it off, I was like, this book, look at it. Oh my god, beautiful. So very pleased with that find. Continuing the bargains, so then I was just scrolling on Amazon, and Amazon decided to do a deal. So they did a deal which was 3 books for £5, or £2 each. So I had to buy some books. 3 books for £5. Like, alone, these books are £9, £10, whatever. Like, just one book by itself is more than that. And I got 3 of them for £5, and then another one for £2. Like, I just, how could you say no to that? Like, how could you say no to that? So I guess there's like two halves to this. So because I've been reading quite a bit of romance this past month, I picked up 2 more romances. So I picked up The Switch by Beth O'Leary. I really enjoyed The Flat Show, which I read by this same author a few years ago, and so I thought I would pick up another one of her books. I know she's got another one out recently called The Road Trip, but this was her second publication, and I do own this one on Kindle, but you know, £2, like, why not? So this, and I also picked up Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez, and I did read The Friend Zone by her a while ago, and I enjoyed it, and I've heard good things about her other 2 books, so the other one being The Happy Ever After playlist, and this one, Life's Too Short. The Happy Ever After playlist wasn't in the deal, so I just picked up this one, but I thought, why not? Why not? This one I know is about a granddaughter and grandmother that switch places, not like magically, like they just switch locations. So the daughter lives in London, the grandma lives in like a rural place, and they switch locations and switch lives. And this one, I have no idea. I guess I will find out. It's a romance. And then the other 2 are fantasy books, and potentially there might be both fantasy duologies. But the first one I got was Raybearer by Jordan Ifweko, and I generally have heard really good things about this and the second book. So I believe this is a fantasy YA duology. I think it's going to be pretty fun. I think I will enjoy it. What I never realised, or like until someone points it out, I just see like the lions, I don't see the face. But now as soon as someone said there's a face, I'm like, there's the face. So there's the face. Which I think is a really cool cover design, that there's multiple facets to it that you don't realise until you like look at it closely. So Raybearer, and then the other one I got was Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova, YA fantasy, and I've heard good things about this one as well. I really like the cover, I mean, but cover £2, so I think I'm well stocked on like some YA fantasy now, that I have multiple choices. I already had multiple choices, but I couldn't say no to the deal, and they're both been like on my radar anyway. I believe this is like South American inspired, or she's a South American author, so definitely interested to read more Latinx authors. And then the books that I bought full price, so those were all the bargain books, but I did buy a few full price this month. So I fell down, well, I hit a big fantasy slump. I really hit a slump in October. Not a reading slump, I just hit a fantasy slump. And I'd come to realise, I was looking at my, like, what I'd read in the year, and pretty much the majority of it has been fantasy. And if it's not been fantasy, it's been sci-fi. Like, that had been the vast majority, like 90% of what I read was well, probably like 80% was fantasy, and then a further like 10-15% was sci-fi. Like, I had hardly read anything that wasn't in either of those 2 genres, and I was just feeling burnt out. And I think it just really hit me in October. So I just read every other genre that wasn't those, pretty much. So I did buy, as well as those 2 like bargain romances, I did buy other romances which I have been reading, which I guess is like a sneak peek of my October wrap up, because this is what makes an appearance in it. But I did buy and read The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I did buy and read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, and I did buy, and I'm about to start, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I guess I won't really get into my thoughts because this is not a wrap up, that will be coming next week, but I have been in a big romance kick. So these are all like fun romances, and have definitely been like what I've been after this past month. So I have definitely increased the romance on my bookshelf, because I didn't really have very much on here, but I really have not been feeling like reading on my Kindle this month. The thought of reading my Kindle, I was just like, no, I don't want to do it. So that's why I did buy them physically. Those are the books I have picked up in the past month. There's a lot more than I would normally buy in a month, but I was sucked in by deals. The deals just were like, Abby, buy me. They were shouting at me. They were shouting, like, they told me. I was forced. They forced me into it. It wasn't me. I was forced. I was blackmailed. buy the deals. So anyway, I guess I haven't really like improved my physical TBR at all. I've just made it worse because it's not as though I've read this many books this month, but I mean, I've had a good reading month, but I haven't read this many books this month. So yeah, we have definitely increased my unread number, but oh well, it's what it is. Yeah, it's fine. So let me know if you have bought many books in October, if you've done the same thing as me and bought way too many books, or if you've been very controlled and like restrained. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!